Project Trackday has been relentless since the start of this year, introducing lots of new cars like the Ferrari 499P, the BMW M Hybrid, Indycars, a GT4 Supra and the BRZ GT300. While the Indycars fell very short of expectations, the community embraced the rest of the content with open arms. With Update 8, Project Trackday continues its streak of excellence, delivering the highly anticipated 2024 F1 lineup. Alongside the F1 cars, we also finally, after months and months of asking, got a new track, the iconic Silverstone. It's been all around a well-built track, and we will dive into the driving in just a few moments. This update also introduces a brand new race mode just for the F1 cars, and for the first time ever in Project Trackday, pit stops featuring the usual F1 tire compounds have made it onto the game. Here is the interesting part, however. The developers have made these tires wear out much faster. In addition, the F1 races are a tad bit longer as well to make pit stops really necessary to do. Let me break it down for you then. Softs barely last 3 laps, mediums hang on for about 5, and hards hold out for roughly 8 laps. The feeling? Softs and mediums feel decent, but the hards not so much. They are borderline terrible. Pretty much feels like you're skating on ice out there. To put the 3 compounds to the test, I ran a qualifying simulation at Hockenheim with all 3 tire types. The results? Softs were a whopping 7 seconds quicker per lap than hards, with the mediums falling in the middle, trailing softs by 2.5 seconds. As for why the developers made these changes, your guess is as good as mine. Having to do pit stops every 2 laps will for sure at some point get really tedious. The fix? Make tires last more, feel better, and just make races longer, because softs lasting 2 laps is definitely not the way to go. Pricing? Well, in classic Project Trackday fashion, you kinda have to sell your liver. The payouts of the cars are also really low, as you need to pull around 200 to 400 laps depending on the circuit to make back the money you lost. Also, don't forget the fact that you need to pit every 3 laps, which will make the process so much longer. If you ask me, give us double money on all cars and problem solved. Anyways, I've never been a fan of the Project Trackday monetizing system, and this update does not change that. Putting technicalities and pricing aside, I must say I'm quite pleased with the aesthetics of the new cars. It seems like the developers have crafted 3 distinct looking chassis. The first one used by Red Bull, boasting the slimmer side pods and the new engine cover design. Good attention to detail. Then there's the Ferrari chassis, which has the more rounded front wing and the triangular airbox design with a smoother rear wing. Lastly, the third chassis, utilized by the remaining of the teams, has a generic design featuring a smoother engine cover and larger side pods. Overall, quite happy with how the cars look. Textures and chassis design are both high quality, and I'm glad to see that the team has finally stopped importing models and have started crafting their own ones. Big pluses for that. Let's discuss Silverstone. The track's representation in the game was done pretty well. Its high-speed corners have been well recreated, offering a really good driving experience. Silverstone is undoubtedly a standout addition to the game, providing lots of enjoyment for the players. Lastly, new helmets are in the game. Seem familiar? Well, yeah, they were made by the sponsor of this video, INV Works. You guys seem to love them on my last video, so it's only fair that we give them another shout out. They offer all kinds of racing helmets for your racing needs, and for the first time ever, my very own roarthurv headsets. Everything they sell is really affordable, so check them out in the description. Alrighty now, let's go ahead and see how these F1 cars feel out on track. So here we are then in Silverstone. We are ready to start our hot laps. Now you might be wondering why I am in the slowest car of the grid, which is the Alpine. Well, that's because I want to compare what the Alpine, the Ferrari and the Red Bull can do compared to each other. As we said before, there is 3 separate chassis, which the Alpine is using, the Ferrari is using, and the Red Bull is also using. So 3 separate chassis. I want to see what the performance difference is on those 3 separate chassis, so we'll just go ahead and do that. That was a very smooth sector 1. I also want to say that the tires last around 2.5 laps, up to 3 maximum around Silverstone, which is why we are going to be taking just hot laps, no race simulations around here, because it will simply be too inconsistent to have to pit every 3 laps. That genuinely needs to be fixed. Hopefully the developers listen to us and they actually give us a tire rebalancing that we absolutely need. But Corpse, absolutely not flat out then. There is high speed understeer, which I did not like at all very much there. Through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel now. We have to brake there as we should. Into Chapel then. up to 7th. There we go, as the automatic gearbox puts us in. Obviously, I'm not using manual just so we can get the best results out there. Let me open up the leaderboard as well so we can see what our progress is through sector 1, 2, and 3. Obviously, we'll be going through the slowest to the fastest car to be able to see how much we improve each time. So yeah, through the final couple of corners, then we go with this Alpine. I can't wait to get rid of this car. Through the final corner, which is absolutely flat out, onto the main straight. I almost invalidated right there, almost lost the car as well, but that's a lap right there. 1:38.9 is the lap time to beat with the Ferrari, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright then, so I picked up the Ferrari. Here we go. We're starting our new hot lap. We have the leaderboard on our side. As I said, this is the second out of the third chassis that the developers built, so I really want to see what the performance... Okay, there was so much understeer there. That should not happen. Yeah, so as you saw there, not that great, but that does give us an opportunity to actually showcase the pit stop system. So let me go real quickly up to the pits and I'll catch you guys over there. Okay, so here we go. We have found ourselves into the pit lane. We do get a pit limiter actually, which I actually wasn't sure that we were going to get. But here we go. Let's go into the pit lane. Let's actually get the front wing camera so we can see where we park. I think over here should be enough. There we go. You just have to make sure you're behind that yellow line on your pit box so it actually detects that you're there and it changes your tires. So we changed back into the softs, as you can see. It just brings up a little... Wow, okay. I am worse than Nikita Mazepin. That is just absolutely amazing. But yeah, as you saw there, it just brings you a little UI that you can use to select which tire you want, and then you just stop into your pit box and you get the tire you want. Anyways, I'll catch you guys at the very final corner, which is when we'll start our second and hopefully last lap with this Ferrari so we can move on to the Red Bull. Here we go. Through turn 1, can we do this flat? Just about. Through here, is it flat? Yes, it is. Thankfully, we did not have that understeer that we had last time, as we absolutely do get the apex over there. So one thing I've also noticed is that it's really hard to get a good exit, but that isn't too bad, I'll tell you that. I really miss driving hard cars on Raw Racing. The developers have actually done a really good job at giving us a hard but actually fun car to drive. So through lap field, we're going to be going right about now, as I absolutely missed the apex through there, but I'm sure that should be absolutely alright. Should we use hybrid? No, actually, let's not use hybrid so that we don't have the human input factor in there. We did not use hybrid with the Alpine, but what I will tell you is that corpse is absolutely not flat as well. So there's lots of understeer on those F1 cars. Anyway, through Maggots, Beckett's, and Chapel. So Beckett's done, and now we're heading into Chapel. Understeer getting to us again. What you will notice as well is that the circuit is fairly bumpy, but the suspension does an alright job at actually saving the car and not absolutely wrecking it. What you will also notice as well is that Sector 1 and 2 are so much quicker than what we did with the Alpine, which is great to see. So Sector 3 will be rounding it off right about now. In just a few moments. Through the final couple of corners we go. I really love how the car exits corners. And yeah, here we go onto the main straight. What's that lap time going to be? 1:35.2. That is so much quicker than what we did with the Alpine. So here we go then with the Red Bull. Hopefully for the final lap of this video, we're going through the main straight, heading towards down into Abbey. This is supposed to be a flat out corner in real life. It absolutely isn't in Project Trackday, and that is sad to see. But we're heading to the next few couple of corners, breaking at the 200-meter signboard, absolutely perfecting that apex right there, as I can actually feel lots more downforce on this car. We didn't have that exit slide that we used to have with the Ferrari so far, but that is 2/10 slower than the Ferrari, so that is very interesting to see. However, heading into the next couple of corners then here, this is where I did terribly with the Ferrari. We missed those apexes over here. I'm gonna try to get them in with the Red Bull, as we can use that extra grip that this Red Bull has. Heading now down into towards Cobbs. I really want to see how we did in Sector 2. We'll find out in just a few moments. So is Cobbs flat out? Doesn't look like it at all. So we had to brake there, lift off as well, just to make sure we can get the car in. Don't invalidate your lap. So Maggots, Beckett's, and very soon Chapel as well, as Sector 2 was actually quicker than what we did with the Ferrari. I'm not going to count that as invalid. I'm absolutely not going to go ahead and do that. We'll just see what the lap time is, and we'll move on with our days, because that was not an off-track violation, I'll tell you that. So through Stowe we go, and now heading into the final couple of corners, braking at when the curb starts, making sure we get the apex in correctly right there, with 5th gear as well. So higher gears than what we did with the Ferrari, I believe. So final corner, and that is a 135.2. Is it the exact same time? What? Oh no, it actually isn't. So it is a tenth slower than what we did with the Ferrari. Is that a skill issue on my part? I have actually got no idea. Is the Ferrari quicker on this game than the Red Bull? I am actually not quite sure. Alright, anyway, I'll just use a bit of hybrid on this straight right here so you guys can see how it works. It just gives you speed, as you saw, and it also regenerates with braking and obviously the exhaust gases from your engine. So if you are on a straight, it still regenerates. If you are in corners, it also regenerates there. But yeah, conclusions of this update. The F1 cars need work. They absolutely do need work. The pricing is unbelievable, meaning you need to do 300 to 400 laps depending on the circuit you're on to actually make the money that you lost, which is, in my opinion, a bit too much. Also, the cameras on the cars are actually fairly broken as well. They don't look too great. We should have settings that allows us to change FOV and all that kinds of stuff. We don't have that yet, unfortunately, and the default position of the cameras is straight up just not that great. Handling wise, from what we saw, bumps are handled well, corner exits are pretty good as well, but what I don't like is the high-speed understeer that we're getting, because actually, if you think about it, these cars should come alive the faster you go, because the faster you go, the more downforce you generate, but that is not the case here. Definitely one of the best, however, F1 cars of the 2024 era that I've tried on Roblox. If you guys want to go ahead and try them, link is in the description for the game. Oh, and before I forget, massive congrats to the devs for the Silverstone, as it looks pretty good, if I should say so myself. If I had to rate this update, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Not the greatest it could have been, but it's still a really, really good update. Let me know your thoughts about this update down in the comments. I genuinely want to hear your opinions, guys. But until my very next video, do stay safe, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you then. Bye-bye.